But first, no one knows what Premier Mike Rann will do or say when he returns from overseas after last week being told his use-by date is up. And while that's been the question on everybody's lips, questions are also being asked about how the state's biggest union has come to wield such influence and whether its practices are acceptable. In a moment, I'll speak to Labor's state president, but first, this report from Paul Clarick.
It's been a tumultuous week in state politics.
We can't talk about Cabinet. Thanks, everybody.
The dominant right wing of the Labor Party told the Premier, Mike Rann, that his time as Premier was up.
So I have absolutely no intention of retiring.
Should I stay or should I go now?
He left for India the next day on a trade mission and will reveal his full intentions upon his return on Monday. This is Peter Malinauskas, the State Secretary of the SDA, the Shop Distributive and Allied Employees Association. He's the so-called faceless union man who helped deliver the news to Mike Rann last week, and he politely declined to be interviewed for this story.
If you're in the SDA, you don't have to be scared of losing your job if you speak out.
Mike Rann isn't in the SDA. Like Kevin Rudd, he doesn't belong to a faction. And also, like Kevin Rudd, his overthrow has again highlighted the power of the unions, especially the SDA.
The largest union in Australia, with over 200,000 members, and more than 20,000 in this branch alone. Our members work in supermarkets, department stores, fast food outlets, retail warehousing and distribution. In fact, almost every industry involving customers and sales.
But former State Labor Secretary and Senator Chris Schott says what most of those members don't know is that their union fees are used to register them at the annual ALP State Conference.
His union affiliates for more members to the Labor Party, 20,000, which gives him a quarter of the vote of the unions at the State Conference, which is the biggest bloc, and that controls the right-wing faction, and then that controls the party.
Former Federated Clerks union leader Ralph Clark, once Mike Rann's deputy, says in effect SDA union fees are being used to buy power within the ALP, without most members knowing or being consulted on how that power is exercised.
None of their members would have been asked as to whether or not they want to be counted as part of the ALP. It's extraordinary that you could affiliate for 100% of your membership to the ALP when clearly not every one of those members would be an ALP supporter.
When they affiliate the 20,000 and pay probably $100,000 a year, none of the members of the union have any say in that decision to affiliate their money, have no decision in selecting delegates to the conference, have no say in what the policies of the union will vote for at the conference.
So while members are busy serving customers, the union leaders are also busy dictating policy on a variety of issues such as stem cell research and gay marriage. Recent events have led to calls for reform within the party to make union power more representative.
I think it's fair enough that when you join a union, there should be at least a box on the application form that says, this union's affiliated to the Labor Party. Do you wish to be counted? Do you wish your membership of the union to be counted towards our union affiliation to the ALP? Tick yes or no. That would be the fairest way of doing it.
You can't keep having such a small, narrow base where only a small group of unions, which are less than 10% of union members in South Australia, have 50% of the say on everything in the Labor Party.
But Labor insiders believe that any change must come from within because, curiously, Liberal governments like the situation the way it is.
I doubt that the Liberal Party would do it, or they would have done it during the Howard years. They can win more votes by waving the red rag, so to speak, that the ALP is controlled by these unaccountable union officials. And they don't want to spoil that narrative, so they'll leave it as it is. That's my view, because they think it's more to their electoral advantage to do so.
But it is an issue federal Labor is set to confront.
And that, in part, is what the National Conference, as I understand it, will be debating later this year. This is the Cars, Bracks, Faulkner report into the 2010 federal election, which has called for greater local participation in the pre-selection of candidates. It'll be an interesting debate, but those who hold the levers of power are very reluctant to let those levers go voluntarily.
And to what extent that applies to Mike Rann will be revealed on Monday when he returns from India.
Should I stay or should I go?
Paul Clarick there.